If you're over 70 and you wake up every day just as exhausted as when you went to bed, your doctor probably told you it's just part of getting older. It isn't. Here's what's actually going on. Your kidneys control the hormone that tells your body to make red blood cells. When kidney function starts to slip, that hormone drops. And when it drops, your blood carries less oxygen to every muscle and organ in your body. That's what bone-deep exhaustion actually is. And it can show up 2 to 3 years before your blood work shows anything out of range. There are 4 other signs your body sends when this is happening, and most people never think to mention them to their doctor. Sandra was 73 when her daughter pointed out that her eyes looked puffy. Not tired. Different. Sandra had already noticed, had already bought a better eye cream, had already decided it was the kind of thing that happens at 73. She'd been exhausted for 2 years in a way she couldn't explain. She'd started sleeping in compression socks for the ankle, swelling her doctor had called fluid retention. She'd stopped mentioning the leg cramps because she'd been told to drink more water, and she was already drinking water. 4 different symptoms, 4 different answers, none of them connected. The people who never hear this keep accepting each symptom on its own and running out of explanations. The ones who do hear it bring those 4 signs to their next appointment and give their doctor something to connect. We're going to get into all of it. The patients who get ahead of kidney disease are the ones who walked in with a specific word or a specific pattern, not just a general complaint. That is what this video is designed to give you. Before we get into the signals themselves, I want to ask you something. Have you or someone you love been told that exhaustion, ankle swelling, or leg cramps are just part of getting older? Tell me in the comments. Your experience matters, and it helps other people watching this know they are not alone. Here is the core of what is happening, and I want to walk you through it in plain language before we go any further. Think of your kidneys like a pair of filters that never stop working. Every minute of every day, they clean your blood, manage your fluid levels, and send out chemical signals, including one very important signal that tells your bone marrow to make red blood cells. Think of it like a standing order to a factory. When the order goes out, the factory produces. When kidney function slips, that order gets quieter. The factory slows down. You end up with fewer red blood cells. And fewer red blood cells means less oxygen getting to your muscles and organs. That is bone-deep exhaustion, not tiredness. Oxygen delivery falling short. Sleep does not fix it, because the problem is not in the sleep. At the same time, those same kidneys are supposed to regulate your fluid balance, your blood pressure, and the minerals. Calcium, potassium, phosphorus, magnesium, that your muscles depend on at night. When that control starts to slip, the signs show up in 4 specific places: your eyes in the morning, your ankles by evening, your legs after midnight, and your energy every single day. About 90% of people with significant kidney disease develop a form of exhaustion-causing anemia, a shortage of red blood cells. Here's why. When the kidneys start to struggle, they produce less of the hormone that tells your bone marrow to make red blood cells. Fewer red blood cells means less oxygen getting to every muscle and organ in your body. That's what bone-deep exhaustion is, not tiredness. Oxygen delivery failure. And rest doesn't fix it, because the problem isn't in the sleep, it's in the blood. The National Institute of Diabetes and Digestive and Kidney Diseases confirmed this link. Roughly 9 in 10 people with significant kidney disease develop this kind of anemia. What that means for you: if you are waking up just as tired as when you went to bed, and sleep is not helping, that is a specific pattern worth naming to your doctor. Puffy eyes that are worse on waking and gradually reduce through the day as you get upright. That specific pattern is a kidney signal. Here's the difference. Allergy puffiness doesn't follow that consistent morning worse, afternoon better pattern. Kidney-related puffiness does, because it's protein leaking through damaged filters and pooling in the tissue around the eye during the hours you spend lying flat. The National Kidney Foundation names this as one of the earliest visible signs of kidney trouble. What that means for you: if the puffiness is there every morning and fades by afternoon, that pattern has a name. And your doctor needs to hear it described exactly that way. Press your thumb firmly into the soft part of your swollen ankle and hold it for 5 seconds. When you release, if the indent stays, that is called pitting edema. Write that phrase down and bring it to your doctor exactly as written. Bilateral pitting edema, both ankles, building through the day, reversing overnight, is a kidney and heart pattern. It's not a footwear problem. The American Kidney Fund identifies this as a sign of systemic fluid retention that needs investigation. What that means for you. The self-check takes 5 seconds. The 2 words you walk in with, pitting edema. Tell your doctor something very specific that most patients never say. Nighttime leg cramps that pull you out of sleep. The kind that might ease temporarily with water or a banana but keep coming back, are a documented signal of what happens when the kidneys start losing their grip on mineral balance. Calcium, potassium, phosphorus, magnesium. The kidneys regulate all of it. When that control slips, the muscles tend to pay the first price at night. The National Kidney Foundation lists nighttime leg cramps as a recognized kidney symptom. What that means for you. If the cramps keep returning, despite water and bananas, the question is not what to take for the cramp. It is why your mineral levels keep going out of balance. Before we get to the part most people never hear about, if you want health information that actually applies to your situation after 70, hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss it. Okay, let's keep going. Here's something most people don't know about their annual blood work. The standard kidney number, creatinine, measures a waste product from muscle. And a woman in her 70s who has naturally less muscle than she did at 50 produces less of that waste product, regardless of how her kidneys are actually functioning, which means the number can look perfectly normal on paper, while the kidneys are quietly losing function. The question worth bringing to your next appointment isn't, is my number normal? It's, has this number been moving in any direction over the last 3 or 4 years? Up to 35% of adults over 70 have chronic kidney disease, a condition where the kidneys are gradually losing their ability to filter and regulate. About 90% of them have no idea. That figure comes from a 2024 study published in BJGP Open, tracking adults in England. The CDC reports the same awareness gap in the United States. Most people find out at a stage where options are already limited, after the point where catching it early would have made the biggest difference. The early stages are when it's most manageable. Most people pass through them without ever knowing. What that means for you, what is already lost cannot be recovered. What has not yet been lost still can be. When you bring up the exhaustion, be specific. Don't just say, I'm tired. Say, I wake up just as tired as when I went to bed, and it's been like this for months. That specific description points your doctor somewhere very different than general fatigue does. The question to ask, could this be related to how my kidneys are making red blood cells? Sandra had bought a better eye cream. She hadn't asked her doctor to explain a pattern that was there every single morning. Worse on waking, better by afternoon, for 2 years. If you have morning puffiness that follows that pattern, describe it in those exact words to your doctor. Morning. Worse. Fades through the day. That is enough for a doctor to know where to look next. Do the thumb test tonight. Press and hold for 5 seconds. If the indent stays, you have the word you need. Pitting edema. 2 words that tell your doctor something very specific, and that most patients never walk in with. You can ask, I've noticed the indent stays when I press my ankle. Could that be pitting edema? The leg cramps are the signal most often treated as a calcium or magnesium problem. A supplement, a banana, more water. And those things might help for a night. But if they keep coming back, the question isn't what to take for the cramp. It's why your mineral levels keep going out of balance in the first place. Ask your doctor, my leg cramps keep returning. Could that be a sign that my kidneys aren't regulating my minerals the way they should? Here's the thing about getting a normal result on your kidney number year after year. It can feel reassuring, and for a lot of people it is. But for a woman in her 70s with less muscle than she had at 50, normal doesn't mean the same thing it did at 45. Her kidney number looks fine because she has less muscle producing that waste product, not necessarily because her kidneys are fine. The trend over 3 or 4 years tells you far more than any single number does. Ask, has my kidney number been moving at all over the last few years, even if it's still in the normal range? If you have already been diagnosed with kidney disease, the dietary guidance in this video is for people who haven't been diagnosed yet. What's right for stage 2 is not right for stage 4. Your nephrologist's guidance takes precedence over anything general. Please don't swap it out. Before I close, let me tell you what happened to Sandra. Sandra's nephrologist told her she was stage 2, caught early enough to manage. She had a name, finally, for what her body had been saying for 2 years, and a doctor who knew what to listen for. The compression socks were still in the drawer, but she had stopped buying the eye cream. What Sandra had was not a dramatic turning point. It was a Tuesday appointment where she used specific words, and her doctor heard something different than he had heard before. That is what this video is for. This is general health information, not advice for your specific situation. For your own case, speak with the physician who knows your full history. You are someone who now knows the difference between what aging feels like and what your kidneys sound like. And you know the 4 things to say to your doctor at your next appointment that could change what happens next. If there is someone in your life, a husband, a sister, a close friend, who has been tired in a way that sleep doesn't touch, or whose ankles leave sock marks by evening, share this with them before their next doctor's appointment. They may have already been told it's their age. They deserve to hear something different.